Viewer discretion is advised.
The Padres. You blew it to the Tigers in 1984, and you have a combined World Series record of 1-8. This year's tank job was so obvious, I'm surprised you didn't leave the screen from BP out on the mound and have one of the players' dads tossed to the other team. And what was with that pitcher-catcher experiment? Sounds like a gimmick. And of course, Holiday never touched the plate.
Petco Park looks a lot like the other retro classic parks in the league. Interesting note, after 3 attempts, PETA bought a brick in the stadium and inscribed on it, "Break open your cold ones, toast the Padres, enjoy this champion organization," which spells out boycott Petco. Ah, PETA, stick to naked chick. You'd think more games in Denver would be on here, but this is our first, and surprisingly, only 4 dingers were hit, 2 by Matt Holliday, who had 8 RBI. Padres starter Woody Williams gave up 9 earned runs and only notched 1 inning of work, as this one was over early, and former Little League pitcher turned third baseman Sean Burroughs came in late to give up 3 more runs. Jamie Wright, who was 5-18 coming into the game, finally got some run support to offset his 5.58 ERA, and no, the San Diego Chicken is not the official mascot of the Padres, it's this overweight monk. Originally, the Swingin' Friar was played by an actual man, and I wonder how that audition process went. Hey, are you fat and have a really weird haircut? Also, do you have an awkward baseball swing? Looks like they found their man. He was on the actual logo until 1980. You ever hear that part of a trade announcement pending the results of a physical? Well, in 2016, Padres GM AJ Preller just simply tried to hide some medical information involving Drew Pomeranz and others in a trade to the Red Sox. Teams complained about it, and he got a 30-day suspension for it. But it did go a little deeper than just omitting information, as it was later discovered that the Padres kept 2 separate databases for medical information on its players. Kinda like leaving stuff off of Carfax. From an aesthetic standpoint, this is a nice looking field that the Mariners and Padres share, even though it's an incubator for regular season sadness for both teams. Honestly, I'd say this is a major league quality field, as it might have to be because it's been rumored that the stadium may be where the Mariners start their 2020 MLB season due to the outbreak in the Pacific Northwest. We have crossed over from the ridiculous to the outright absurd. We all know dual-use stadiums suck, so why not solve the geometry part with water and, pontoons? Yes, in 1965, Chargers owner Barry Hilton proposed a stadium in which the home plate area was stationary and the baseline seating would be able to be moved to the adjacent football field by floating these huge sections on pontoons in the San Diego Bay. What's even crazier is that after a feasibility study, this ridiculous plan could actually work, since the bay was owned by the city and water, of course, is incompressible. The downside? Building a floating stadium would be outrageous in cost, and there's, sinking or falling overboard. Imagine having a game canceled because the entire stadium was on the ocean floor. Though the Padres have been taking on water since they started. Yes, Petco is a modern retro ballpark, but to me it kind of seems much like a hotel, especially with the sterile buildings outside of the park. I like how they integrated the Western Metal Supply building, which was slated for demolition had the park not been built in 2004. However, I'm not a big fan of the large concrete light towers which feature luxury suites. They just look clunky and out of place. Still a good ballpark.
2014. The hot stoves are burning all across the Major League Baseball landscape. For AJ Preller and the Padres, the work they were to do was just beginning. The Padres had been mired in mediocrity for what seemed to be an eternity. The offense was, pun intended, quite offensive. This team was destined for the 75-80 win plateau for the future. The pinnacle of the World Series was something that would be in the rearview mirror when they were crushed by the Yankee machine in 1998. The Padres needed to make moves now. This will begin an era of Padre dominance. Prellerpalooza was about to begin. The transaction store made by the Padres captivated sports writers across America. Look at all of the names that they had picked up. Matt Kemp, Justin Upton, Will Myers, Derek Norris, Will Middlebrooks, Big Game James. Even then, it wasn't enough. Preller needed one more piece to load up for the bullpen. Just before the season started, they picked up an elite closer in Craig Kimbrell from the Braves. It only cost them some extra outfielders and to swallow up the entire contract of B.J. Upton. Prellerpalooza was an astounding success at the time. The city of San Diego actually won something. They were crowned the champions of the offseason. This wasn't going to be like the 2012 Marlins or the Blue Jays of 2013. This team was going to go the distance. There may be massive holes in the plan. The middle infield is still a mess. The pitching was due for regression. The defensive outfield structure was terrible. Matt Kemp was a center fielder in name only. Will Middlebrooks had about one good month in Boston. But the Padres were destined for greatness. That greatness was the same damn mediocrity that they had been mired in since the turn of the decade. Now they have the added bonus of having untold millions of dollars locked up in underperforming players. Not even a year after the binge, they were committing baseball bulimia by purging everything out. Justin Upton became a free agent at the end of the year. Matt Kemp was traded to Atlanta for a guy that was immediately bought out of his contract. Big Game James was shipped off to the White Sox in a salary dump. Craig Kimbrell to the Red Sox. The now-named Melvin Upton didn't play like shit and was able to be sent to the Blue Jays. Even guys that were originally part of the team, like Andrew Kashner, Yonder Alonso, and Tyson Ross, were shed after injuries or underperformance. Nowadays, the aura of off-season champion has eroded, and they appear to be something out of the lab of Yosef Mengele. The Padres are the real-life equivalent of a Jackson Pollock painting. Preller is just throwing shit onto a field and hoping that something, hell, anything sticks onto the warning track. It's customary for a bad team to stockpile a Rule 5 pick on the team for a year to retain their rights. The Padres have 3 of them, and they are all in key positions on the team. Miguel Diaz has started several games for the team. He hadn't pitched a game above April. Luis Torrens is the backup catcher. He struggled in Class A as well last season. Alan Cordoba is their starting left fielder right now. He had all of 400 at-bats in North America to his name before this season. In rookie ball, the Padres have given so few fucks that they are trying out Christian Bethancourt as a pitcher-catcher hybrid. You did not mishear that sentence. Defensively, they are still a train wreck. Hunter Renfroe is one of their better hitters this season, but the man is an absolute butcher in the field. That Luis Torrens guy, his pitch framing and plate protection is such that you'd be better off having a piece of plywood back there. Once again, not important when you are embracing the tank. What also apparently isn't important? Plate patience. What does that term mean anymore? What is selective hitting? What is a walk? Something against those unwritten rules? One of the few people left from Prellerpalooza is Will Myers, who is okay, but will probably be traded for a couple more people who will be sent over the trenches into the no-man's land that is Petco Park. As for pitching, even more of a walking disaster. Once again falling privy to the throw darts on the billboard philosophy, they have sent out nearly everything and everyone, hoping that they can get at least an inning or two from them. Rule 5 picks, minor leaguers, journeymen, and position players are not exempt from this conscription. But what the Padres do have? Jared Weaver! Because the one thing that strikes fear into opposing hitters is a guy that is overcooked to the point of being a hockey puck. Yes, there are players that throw an 85-mile-per-hour fastball in the majors. They're called knuckleballers. This is only going to get worse come August and September, when every player with a shred of value is sold at the deadline and this team immolates like a vampire in the sun. Don't worry though, Padres fans. Your team may be an imitation of the Scream this season, but there is always one bed you can sleep on. You were the champions of the offseason in 2015. The Padres can do what the Washington Capitals do every year and put up a banner in celebration. It can be in between the 14-2 banner and the voodoo doll of Dean Spanos. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you look for nothing but quick fixes instead of a slow build for the future in mind. The Padres are a cautionary tale that hasn't been and never will be learned by sports executives. Big splashes usually drain the pool of all the water. As a result, they are relegated to liking tanks. At least there's only 2 more months before San Diegans get to watch the Chargers squirm as the bitch of Los Angeles. Diego sucks so
Tucker drives one deep to right field and gone! 2-run home run, Kyle Tucker.
San Diego! team's imploding. San Diego, mass collapsing. Now let me welcome everybody to the NL West, a place full of bullshit and laughing and jest, where the Padres act like a bunch of tryhards, yet they get their asses kicked by the Cards. And the wild card race was supposed to be cream, yet it's the second coming of 2015. You see, the Padres like to think they're a team of envy, when they aren't even worth the dirt on my feet. They'll loadable you with Thompson Machado. Who gives a fuck? LA's got the Turners though. A team full of dreams on a new age schemes, vanishing at the end like it's Field of a Dreams. Go and talk about Tatis and his motley crew. Remember, man, stop fucking fighting. Talk all the shit about the Dodgers, yet you can't hit. Yeah, I might get stabbed there, but at least they won shit. Slam Diego, they're appalling. Slam Diego, going golfing. You see the Scherzer on the market, yeah, he's dealing. Think he's a Padre? Yeah, you must be dreaming. LA's gonna make your precious Preller basted, yet you won't admit he's overrated. Tingler's useless in the current situation. You think firing Rothschild saving you from indignation? Scramble to fix the bad and pitching staff. With cheap fixes? Don't make me laugh. Arrieta, Velasquez, Detweiler's luck. Plus Detweiler's still in the league, what the fuck? You wanna have some sort of positive fate? Try not losing 27 of 38. Ambitions of the World Series shot to hell? We're laughing at you. Can't you fucking tell? The only trophy you guys are gonna win? Champions of the fucking offseason. Go and talk more shit about that farm you guys have. Get the fuck out of here, chumps. October's for real teams only.
Center field. Marte. Yeah! It's a